Hello everyone, and welcome back to Applied Library, the place where great books become practical wisdom for everyday life. If you're new here, this channel is dedicated to exploring powerful ideas from some of the most insightful books on personal growth, philosophy, psychology, and spirituality, and translating those ideas into lessons we can actually apply in our lives. And to all our returning followers and subscribers, thank you for being part of the Applied Library community. Your curiosity, your support, and your passion for learning are what keep this channel growing. Today we are exploring a deeply thought-provoking book called Sacred Chaos, written by Tricia McCary Rhodes. In this book, Rhodes invites us to rethink something that most of us instinctively fear: chaos. Moments of uncertainty. Moments of disruption. Moments when life no longer follows the plans we carefully created. Instead of seeing these moments as failures or setbacks, Rhodes suggests that chaos may actually be a sacred doorway, a stage in life where deeper transformation begins. So in today's episode, we'll explore the key ideas behind sacred chaos and discover how uncertainty, when approached with awareness and trust, can become one of the most powerful forces for growth in our lives. Have you ever experienced a moment in life when everything seemed to fall apart? A moment when the plans you carefully built began to crumble? When certainty disappeared? When you felt like the ground beneath your feet was shifting? For many people, those moments feel like failure. We call them crises. We call them breakdowns. We call them chaos. But what if chaos is not the enemy? What if chaos is actually a doorway? In her powerful book, Sacred Chaos, spiritual teacher Tricia McCary Rhodes explores a profound idea: that the seasons of life we fear the most, the seasons of confusion, loss, and uncertainty, may actually be the most sacred moments of transformation. Because chaos, when approached with awareness, can become a path toward deeper wisdom, deeper faith, and a deeper understanding of ourselves. Modern culture teaches us to control everything. We plan our careers. We schedule our days. We track our goals. We organize our lives into neat timelines. We are taught that a successful life is a predictable one, a life where everything follows a logical path. But reality rarely behaves this way. Relationships change. Health shifts. Careers evolve. Unexpected events appear without warning. And when these disruptions occur, we often experience them as threats. Our instinct is to fix the problem as quickly as possible, to restore order, to return life back to the way it used to be. But Rhodes suggests that this reaction might prevent us from discovering something deeper. Because chaos is not always something that needs to be solved. Sometimes it is something that needs to be entered. One of the central ideas of sacred chaos is that life unfolds in cycles. These cycles often move through 3 stages. First comes order. Order is the stage where life feels stable. Our routines make sense. Our identity feels clear. We understand who we are and how the world works. But eventually, life introduces disruption. Something unexpected breaks the structure. This is the stage of chaos. In chaos, the old structures no longer hold. The beliefs, habits, and assumptions that once guided our lives begin to dissolve. And this stage can be uncomfortable. Because chaos creates uncertainty. It challenges our sense of control. But Rhodes explains that chaos is not the final stage. If we remain present through the uncertainty, chaos eventually leads to transformation. A new order begins to emerge. A deeper understanding appears. We see life from a broader perspective. In this sense, chaos becomes a sacred passage, a transition between who we were and who we are becoming. If chaos can lead to transformation, why do we resist it so strongly? Because chaos dissolves certainty. Human beings are wired to seek stability. Our minds prefer clear answers. We like knowing what will happen next. Chaos removes that comfort. When life enters a chaotic season, our usual strategies stop working. The future becomes unclear, and the mind begins searching desperately for explanations. We ask questions like, why is this happening? How can I fix it? How can I return things back to normal? But sometimes the deeper question is different. Sometimes the question is not how to fix chaos, but how to listen to it, because chaos often carries a message about growth, a message about change, a message about a deeper path that we may not have noticed before. In Sacred Chaos, Rhodes invites readers to see chaos not as punishment but as a teacher. Throughout history, many spiritual traditions have described moments of darkness as necessary stages of awakening. Mystics often speak about a phase where familiar beliefs collapse, a stage where the old identity dissolves. Only after this dissolution does deeper insight emerge. Rhodes suggests that chaos performs a similar role. It breaks the structures that have become too small for our growth. It exposes patterns we may not have questioned before. It forces us to examine what truly matters. Without chaos, we might remain trapped inside comfortable but limiting assumptions. Chaos pushes us to evolve. One of the most challenging lessons of chaos is the practice of surrender. Surrender does not mean giving up. It does not mean becoming passive. Instead, surrender means releasing the illusion that we can control every outcome. It means learning to trust the unfolding process of life. When chaos appears, our instinct is often to tighten our grip. We try harder. We push harder. But sometimes the deeper wisdom is to soften, to pause, to listen, to allow the transformation to unfold gradually. Surrender opens a space where new understanding can appear. Remaining present during chaos is not easy. When uncertainty arises, the mind tends to jump into the future. It imagines worst-case scenarios. It searches for immediate solutions. But Rhodes encourages a different approach. Instead of escaping chaos, she invites us to stay with it, to observe what is happening inside us. What emotions arise? What fears appear? What attachments are being challenged? By staying present, chaos becomes a mirror. It reveals the inner structures we have built our identity around. And sometimes these structures are ready to change. When we look back at the difficult seasons of our lives, we often discover something surprising. Many of the moments that once felt like breakdowns eventually became turning points. A career change, the end of a relationship, a personal crisis. These events can initially feel devastating, but over time they may lead to unexpected clarity. They may redirect our lives toward paths we never would have chosen consciously. Rhodes reminds us that transformation rarely occurs in comfortable environments. Growth often requires disruption. Just as a seed must break open before it becomes a tree, our old identity sometimes needs to crack before something new can grow. Perhaps the most difficult aspect of chaos is that its purpose is rarely clear in the moment. When we are inside a storm, we cannot see the full pattern. We see only confusion, only uncertainty. But Rhodes encourages readers to cultivate trust. Trust that chaos may be preparing the ground for something new. Trust that uncertainty may be inviting deeper wisdom. Trust that the current moment, however uncomfortable, is part of a larger unfolding. Trust does not eliminate fear, but it allows us to move through fear with courage. One of the most powerful effects of chaos is that it reshapes our sense of identity. During stable periods of life, we often define ourselves through roles. Our job, our achievements, our relationships. But chaos can remove these external markers. When the familiar roles dissolve, we are confronted with a deeper question. Who am I beyond these structures? This question can feel unsettling, but it can also lead to profound discovery. Because beneath the surface identity, there is often a deeper self waiting to emerge. A self less dependent on external validation. A self grounded in inner awareness. Another lesson of sacred chaos is the importance of embracing mystery. Modern culture often treats uncertainty as a problem, but many spiritual traditions view mystery as sacred. Mystery invites humility. It reminds us that life is larger than our explanations. When we allow mystery to exist, we free ourselves from the pressure to understand everything immediately. And paradoxically, this openness can lead to deeper wisdom. Because insight often arises when the mind stops forcing answers. While the ideas in sacred chaos are deeply philosophical, Rhodes also offers practical guidance. First, cultivate stillness. Moments of quiet reflection allow us to process change without becoming overwhelmed. Second, practice patience. Transformation rarely happens overnight. Chaos may last longer than we expect, but growth often unfolds slowly. Third, seek supportive community. Sharing our struggles with others reminds us that we are not alone. And finally, remain curious. Instead of asking only how to escape chaos, ask what it might be teaching. Curiosity transforms fear into exploration. At its core, sacred chaos invites us to rethink our relationship with change. Instead of viewing disruption as failure, we can begin to see it as part of the sacred rhythm of life. Order, chaos, transformation. These cycles appear everywhere in nature. The seasons change. Storms clear the air. Forests regenerate after fires. Life evolves through disruption. Human life follows the same pattern. When chaos arrives, it may feel like the end of stability. But it may also be the beginning of a deeper chapter. Every life will encounter moments of chaos. Moments when plans collapse. Moments when certainty disappears. Moments when the future becomes unclear. These experiences can feel frightening. But sacred chaos reminds us that uncertainty does not always signal failure. Sometimes it signals transformation. Sometimes the structures that are dissolving were never meant to last. Sometimes chaos is the invitation to grow beyond our previous limitations. And sometimes the path forward only becomes visible after we have walked through the unknown. So the next time life feels uncertain, instead of asking only how to escape chaos, perhaps we can ask a different question. What if this moment is part of something sacred? What if the disruption we fear today is quietly preparing the wisdom we will understand tomorrow? Because in the mysterious rhythm of life, chaos is not always destruction. Sometimes, chaos is the beginning of awakening. And that brings us to the end of today's exploration of Sacred Chaos by Tricia McCary Rhodes. If there is one message this book leaves us with, it is this. Chaos is not always something to escape. Sometimes it is something to understand. Because within moments of uncertainty, disruption, and change, life may be quietly guiding us toward deeper clarity and transformation. If you enjoyed this summary and found value in these ideas, please consider supporting the channel by liking the video and subscribing to Applied Library. Thanks so much to all our followers and subscribers who continue to watch, comment, and share these episodes. Your support helps keep this library of ideas alive and growing. Until next time, keep learning, keep reflecting, and keep applying the wisdom of great books to your everyday life. See you in the next episode of Applied Library.